Hey there, Stampers. This is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Alberta, Canada, and I am excited to be here today to share with you a scrapbooking process video. This is for the Scrapbooking Global Blog Hop, and this month's challenge was to use this sketch as our inspiration. So I'm going to follow it pretty closely, except I don't have two photos. I just have one 4x6 photo, so I'm going to make it work for me. I am going to do the strip down the middle, but make some modifications. I'm going to do lots of stamping, maybe some splattering, and add my title and some journaling. I do have some more photos, but I'm going to turn this into a 2-page spread, so I'm going to save these for the facing page, which won't get done today. All right, so let me share what I've pulled out here. I have pulled out this DSP, which is from the Fresh as a Daisy DSP. This was a 12x12, and I've gone ahead and I've gutted it. So I like to do this with my DSP if I'm doing layers because it conserves the DSP. So I did a 1-inch border, cut out the center, and now I have this piece to use when I go and document these photos on the facing page, and it ties the 2 pages together. All right, and then I've added a piece of black onto that, and then I've got a piece of white that's going to get added on here. But first I want to stamp on here so it has not been attached. And you could even gut this one if you wanted to conserve cardstock and save the black for something, the black center for something else. But I'm just going to go ahead and mat this right over top. I used this piece to cut off about a 1/2-inch strip. This is going to go down the center, and then this is a strip left from this, from cutting the black piece down. So this is going to go down the center, so that is going to mimic this part here, but I am going to do some stamping kind of in behind. I have my photo, and then this is going to be, I will likely do journaling on this and do my title up here and then do some sort of focal point here. That's what I'm thinking anyways. But I did have another piece of this Fresh as a Daisy DSP that I cut using the Gorgeously Made dies. So this border die was done to cut that. I love this die. And then this one, it's meant to give it like a torn edge, but once I cut it, it looked kind of like a mountain range. So the photo was taken going through the Norwegian fjords. So I thought that kind of looked like a mountain. So I might include that somewhere as well. Or maybe I will change this and cut this down to do a mountain and have the mountain on the top. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So some of the other things that I've pulled out the following colors. So Garden Green, Pebbled Path, Pretty Peacock. I've pulled out 2 stamp sets. The Gorgeously Made stamp set because I want to use this one and this one. And then I've also pulled out the Grassy Grove stamp set because I think I want to use this one here. So those are the products that I've pulled out. Oh, and the Alphabet a la Mode dies. And I might include the Alphabest stamp set as well, which is another alphabet set to create my title. But I'm going to go ahead and speed this up and I'll talk you through it.
Okay, so we're going to start by creating the background. So I'm just going to kind of position these pieces so that I know where I want to do my stamping. And I'm going to take this border die from the Gorgeously Made stamp set. I'm inking it up with some Pretty Peacock, and I'm going to stamp kind of down to add a little bit of detail, a third little strip down the center of the layout. And it's actually not going to be in the center. It's going to be a little bit closer to the left-hand side. So it goes not quite from the top to not quite from the bottom. It's a little bit shorter than the 2 strips that I've got. And my black piece will go there, and the pattern paper piece, my photo there. Now I'm going to take some Pebbled Path ink and the little background or the little word stamp from the same stamp set and stamp that with some generation stamping. So 3 times without re-inking. just to give a little bit of detail in the back. And I really love how the background of this layout turned out. Now I'm bringing in some garden green and the trees from the Grassy Grove, I think is the name of the stamp set. I don't think I have it jotted down. I'm pretty sure it's called Grassy Grove though. And I'm stamping the trees 3 times. So I've got a little forest off to the left. And now I'm going to bring in some black memento refill and do a little bit of splattering. So I'm using a water painter, but I'm not adding moisture to the water painter. I want it to be nice and crisp. So now I'm just cleaning it up, cleaning up the block. So I just flicked it off of the block. And now I'm squeezing the aqua painter to get all the excess ink out. And I'm just going to take my heat tool and give it a little zap to speed up the drying time, just because I want to finish the layout. I don't want to let it sit. And everything else just needs to be kind of adhered to it. Then we're going to adhere that to our background piece. And you can always check the blog post for this layout to find out the measurements of these. So if you want to recreate this layout, I'll have the measurements over in the blog post, which I will link in the description below. All right, now we'll add our strips. I'm going to start with the black strip. Just add a little bit of adhesive, and I'm going to use my T-square to make sure that it is straight. And I'm overlapping that stamped border just a little bit. And then we'll do the strip of patterned paper. And again, overlapping that black strip just a little bit. This was such a fun sketch to work with. All right, so now we're bringing in the different elements that we've got here. So my 4x6 photo and this piece of DSP. So I trimmed that down a little bit and then stuck it down. And then here are I'm kind of thinking this border would be a good place to put, or the bottom of the photo would be a good place to put this border. So I'm just kind of playing around with it. I end up moving it off to the side while I do a few other things, but I do come back to it and it does end up going there. So I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive here. This block that I initially thought would be for my journaling, I'm actually going to use it for my title. So I've die cut the word fjord from the Alphabet Alamo dies with some adhesive sheets on the back, and that's going to go on here. And then I'm going to use the Alphabest stamp set to stamp the word Geiranger. All right, so I'm just peeling off the backing and I'm going to adhere the letters. I just felt that the title stood out a little bit more on this background or on this piece of DSP rather than on the background or above the photo. So now I need to find a new place for my journaling. So I thought that by having that border edge with the mountain range, or what looks like a mountain range, extend past the photo would be a good place to have a little tag tucked in. And that can be where I add my journaling. So I'm using the second largest tag from the TaylorMade tag dies. I die cut it from some white and added that in there. And that's going to be perfect to just have that tucked in next to the photo for a little bit of journaling. I do plan on doing a facing page for this, so I will add a little bit more journaling on that facing page. So here, initially I used a little bit of seal adhesive, and then I realized, no, I want to pop this up because I want my tag to tuck in underneath. So I'm just using some little bits around the edges of dimensionals on the side, and then one at the bottom just so my tag doesn't fall through. And I'm going to stick that down. And then this piece, I'm going to add a little bit of dimension and tuck it underneath. I do trim it down just a little bit just because I couldn't get it so that you couldn't see the photo under that one area. So I trim it down just a little bit. I'm going to put some dimensionals on the edges, make sure that it's open where my tag will tuck underneath, and then just slide that underneath there. That's going to be perfect. Then I believe I grabbed some black twine. Oh, no, I'm going to do some stamping. So I got another scrap of white. I'm going to bring in those trees because if we remember, the sketch had like a little circular element or a little embellishment kind of in the center between, it kind of was where the two photos joined, which will be where my title block and my photo joins. So I stamped that and then die cut it, just kind of auditioning it in different places to see if I wanted to stamp some more. I just stuck with the one. Here is some Black Essentials Baker's Twine that I'm just going to feed through the tag for another pop of black, because we've got little elements of black with the black mat, the black strip, the black title, the black twine, the black splatter. So it's nice. Black is just such a classic, great color. All right, so here's the Alphabet stamp set, and I'm going to stamp the word Geiranger. I stamp it in some pretty peacock ink, and I want it to be right justified, so I start at the end, and there we go. That's all done. We're almost finished here. I think the last thing that I do is I find some embellishments. I end up using classic matte dots in gray as my embellishment. Oh, here, I'm going to pop up this tree first. Just pop that up there. And here, I'm going to take these gray ones and I'm just going to add a couple, or I'm going to add 3 up here next to the title and then 2 more down next to the tag. And I do add some journaling to the tag, but I do that after the video, so you'll be able to see that in the photo that I share of the finished layout. It will have the journaling on it, and I love how it came together. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you give me a thumbs up, and if you are not yet a subscriber, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thanks so much for watching.